When I got out of the Marine Corps, I thought, you know, I'm fine. I'll just be fine. But the truth is, I was snapping at people, startled by loud noises. I was getting panicked and anxious, walking around like the world was out to get me. I thought everything was like danger. I'm like in condition, red, thinking like I'm at war or something. But today I'm showing exactly how I went from being, panicky, anxious, aggressive to calm, grounded, and in control. I'm Dr. Ray Peralta, physical therapist, exercise physiologist, and Marine veteran. And for over 10 years, I've helped people rehab injuries and get fitter. But before I could help others, I had to face my own battle, learning how to manage symptoms like anxiety, panic, PTSD like symptoms that showed up with like this, again, feeling anxious and overly aggressive, and even being passive aggressive. And this video, I'm going to share exactly the exact mindset shift I made, nervous system resetting techniques, and daily habits I used to take control of my emotions. And maybe this may help you out, and so you can start doing the same. So I'm going to cover the earlier warning signs I ignored after leaving the Marines, the turning point that made me finally get help, and the exact mind-body practices I committed, and how I manage anxiety and aggression today without, that fear of losing control. When I first left the Marine Corps, I didn't think I had any serious problems, right? I'm like, okay, you know, even though I talked to like a psychiatrist when I was in, and they said, "Hey, Ray, you have BPD, borderline personality disorder." I'm like, "Okay, sure, whatever." I didn't take it too seriously. But then, as I made the transition to the civilian world, right, I started noticing some patterns. Right, I was getting pretty aggressive, being startled, panicking, getting anxious by loud noises. I'd be like either too aggressive or being passive aggressive at work, snapping at coworkers. Uh, One of my first civilian jobs was working as a barista at a Starbucks. I remember my manager giving me some feedback. Uh, I showed up like a minute or two late, and I responded with the edge of my voice. I'd snap, but I didn't share that the reason I was late was that I had to share the car with my mom. I only had one car in my family. I was living with my mom at the time, and that I had to drop my mom off before I could go to work. And that, hey, maybe it'd be better if I had a different shift, or I could start at a different hour, so I wouldn't have to be rushing back and forth. Right? I didn't share that, so I was like kind of keeping these things to myself. I also didn't share that I was stressed, still adjusting to civilian life. Instead of asking for support, I try to drop hints, hoping that people will just get it, but they didn't. So I felt like the world was out to get me, and I stayed quiet, which only made things worse, right? It made me feel lonelier, felt like I was bottling up this rage, this anger. Then one day it finally clicked. I respected people who were clear and direct, but I wasn't being that person myself. So I decided to be clear. I decided that, hey, I needed to ask for help. So if something was bothering me, I had to address it directly. So which led me to working with a therapist, led me to working with different coaches for personal development. I helped to overcome my social anxiety, and led me to really commit just to getting healthier and resetting my nervous system daily instead of being someone who's dabbling. Oh, I'm just going to try this thing. I'm going to try for a few days and then drop off. But no, I just said, hey, I'm going to go commit. I'm going to go all in. Right. And if you want to learn how to train and run pain free while keeping your nervous system in check out my free training, link in the description. So, some of the mind body practice I committed to start getting healthier. One was progressive relaxation exercise, progressive muscle relaxation. This is like a form of like self visualization, visualize the muscles relaxing, or some people call self hypnosis, essentially, right? Relaxing the muscles of the face, the neck, the jaw, the shoulders, going body part by body region. And this may take a good 10 or 15 minutes, scanning the entire body from head to toe. And then I noticed had areas where I was holding tension. Okay, let me release the tension in my shoulders, release the tension in my arms, and so forth. Another thing that I found that was very helpful was doing a breath work, breathing exercise, things like alternate nostril breathing, like blocking a nostril, breathing out, breathing in through the nostril, and switching to the other nostril, going back and forth, spending like 5 or 6 minutes doing that, or box breathing, which I found also very helpful to help calm my nerves, help slow down my breath. With box breathing, essentially, there's different versions of this, but essentially you'd like count for 4 seconds, you would inhale for four, hold for four, exhale for four, and then hold for four again, then inhale. You just repeat that whole cycle. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold the breath, and keep doing that for about 5, or you can do it for multiple cycles, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Another thing I found that was also helpful for resetting my nervous system was meditation. I, started with guided meditation, but also do non-guided meditation where I just kind of sit quiet, 5 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day, just let my thoughts go, try to not be hyper focused on a thought, but just let my mind relax, kind of do nothing and just relax there. Found it also very powerful and been a game changer for resetting my nervous system. Doing gentle yoga and stretching. So I started doing some kind of daily mobility work, whether it's some yoga poses or gentle stretches, even if it's just like for 5 minutes, or sometimes I carve out more time in my day. I'm doing it 15 or 30 minutes, but I found it very useful to help decrease tension in my neck or back, especially also dealing with back and neck pain. Uh, I also find it just useful to be finding quiet time, just listening to some quiet music or beats. Binaural beats has helped, just relaxing music. And then spending time in nature, going out, getting grounded, walking on bare feet, like just being grounded, or sitting in, palms, or even doing yoga in the park when the park is clean and I don't have to worry about dogs pissing all over the place, or just walking in the park or in nature area, walking by the water. I was also being found to just kind of help just reset my nervous system, feel calmer throughout the day. Now, any panic or anxiety I get in my current time is very mild. I no longer feel I'm about to have a panic attack, like like about to have a heart attack. I have to go to the bathroom and hide or something. And I don't live on the edge. I live more in control of my emotions. I'm not so like emotionally unstable, about to like again panic or get anxious just from the slightest thing. And able to just take a breath and just kind of be present in the moment. So if you're a veteran and want to reclaim your strength, discipline, and calm without pain, check out my free training, link below. And if you found this helpful, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with another veteran who needs to hear it.